Hello, hello. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Y'all can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you really well. So, welcome
Perfect.
back, everybody. I want you guys to tune in and listen very well to the discussion we're about to have. And Aaron, go ahead and tell everybody who you are, what you do, give them a little background.
All right, what's going on, everybody? My name is Aaron Henderson. I am a NFL and NBA agent at Vanguard Sports Group. I'm based in Los Angeles, but I am from Spartanburg, South Carolina. So A64 in the house. What's going on, everybody out there? I hope everybody's doing well, staying safe.
All right. So that's your job title. What do
That's
you
my
do?
job title. That's
Title. What do you
that's
do?
that's part of what I do. Um, part if anybody maybe a lot of people do know what it is. And for those who don't, I represent professional athletes, NBA, NFL athletes, who are trying to achieve their dreams. These some athletes have been blessed to be among the top 1% to be in to be professional athletes, and it's my job to take it from point A to point B, from dream to reality. So from getting them ready for the draft to actually being professional athletes to negotiating contracts to everything in between. So it's an interesting job. It's definitely something I've been blessed to do. It's a great thing to do, a great blessing, but it's also like a job as well. It has its ups and downs. Just like life. So just I will say again though, I've been blessed. I can't admit that.
All right. I love what you said that you make it go from dream to reality from point A to point B. So tell us a little bit about your own personal journey getting from point
Oh
A
man,
to point B and like the things
I
that you
mean, I mean, it's even funny just saying it like that because it's still ongoing. So, just in my path to get into where I'm at right now. I mentioned I'm from South Carolina, from Spartanburg. I was actually born in Mississippi, moved to Spartanburg in sixth grade. So just even my life journey from that point in Mississippi to even getting to South Carolina to graduating high school, getting to USC, where things as far as career wise really started to take off for me. I majored in sport and entertainment management at South Carolina. Was blessed to act, and let me before I even get into it, just we're talking about dreams from reality. My first initial dream was like anybody else. I thought I was going to be the next Michael Jordan, and go to the NBA, and all that. And so I think around high school, I was 5'4" as a freshman. And I'm looking around, looking at my prospects, and I'm just like, well, not many 5'4" dudes gonna play post in the NBA, but I may not go pro, but I'm gonna work in sports somehow. So I eventually had growth spurt, kept playing and everything, but I always knew I was gonna work in sports, and that's what attracted me to South Carolina in the first place. Sport and entertainment management, one of the top programs in the country. So I took advantage of that, but even to even get to this point now, when I first was trying to get an internship after my sophomore year. I couldn't get an internship with our athletic department. I didn't know anybody there, and I actually had to do an internship to even graduate. And so, I one of the things that I did was, instead of looking at it as a loss, I went back to my high school, my alma mater, and did my first internship in sports there, which was what turned out to be one of the greatest learning experiences of my life because it gave me the chance to do a little bit of everything. And so, and I got a chance to stay home for free. So, got to take care of that too. So, just even getting that chance, my start came from, humble beginnings. I started as a high school intern, keeping score for JV games and setting up for varsity games, making sure refs were paid and taken care of, and, doing things like going to board meetings and things like that. So a great opportunity that then led me to go directly to go be an intern at the South Carolina athletic department. And it was from there that I just built on these experiences even more. I met one of my mentors there who was, so impressed with my work. He wrote a letter of recommendation for me to go to grad school at Ohio University. So immediately after I graduated from South Carolina with my bachelor's, I went to a grad program at Ohio University where I was getting two master's degrees in 2 years. And then those opportunities and experiences that I got there just even led to more things that just opened the doors, and so I could sit here and talk about my background. It's a really long story, and I'm not trying to be facetious or anything, but just those opportunities at Ohio, plus the opportunities that came along for me to even be a sports agent, um, just it I mean it's honestly it's a long journey, because even after I went to Ohio and got my master's, I still went back for more school. I graduated from Ohio in 2015. um, During that time at Ohio, just to give you some more of the story, during that time at Ohio, I changed my career path from wanting to be an athletic director to wanting to be a sports agent, simply because I saw how one of my friends got treated, by the agent industry during his decision to come out to the NFL. And I felt like he wasn't advised properly, and it showed now as his career progressed. He never really got a chance to get a career, and a lot of it I feel was because of how his agent advised him. And so I saw that and said I wanted to make a difference. And so just even during that time in Ohio, I marshaled all my resources and opportunities there to worked an internship with sports agencies in Ohio. And then I realized during my time there that, I need to, one, I'm going to become a certified agent after I graduate, because I have a master's degree that will enable me to do that. But then two, I need to go to law school as well, because that is going to give me that's going to allow me to compete with these older, more established agents, but that's going to help serve me in the long term as well. So after I graduated from Ohio, got, basically came back to Spartanburg for 3 months, figured out how I was going to move to Los Angeles, where I, got accepted to a law school. Took a bus, no lie, took a bus from Charlotte to Washington, D.C. in between that to go take my NFL agent exam, because I couldn't afford to fly. I had to save all my money for a move. So just had the whole time to contemplate how, I was going to make this thing work. Drove out from South Carolina to California to enroll in law school. I was going to law school at night and working as an agent during the day, fully on my own, independent, trying to establish myself in an industry that, it's dominated by sharks, and that's just to say the least. So, was blessed my second year of law school to be able to represent a client, to be able to represent a player who was going to make his name and get drafted, and was blessed enough. And he was, a great enough athlete to be able to position himself to get drafted in the third round in the NFL draft in 2017. So from that point on, just the experiences I did there, doing this contract, doing this marketing and things like that, it was those experiences that gave me, the chance to, it was those experiences that gave me the chance to even intern and work and meet different agents that, I was able to build relationships with, and to the point where we have now, where I've graduated law school last year, December 2019. Thank God I don't have to do any more school anymore, but that's not a knock to school. And now I've just last month accepted this position with Vanguard Sports, where I'm backed by a team of agents who've done over $2 billion in contracts, and I get a chance to finally sit back and learn and continue my development as an agent and as a person, and be mentored by some of the best in the industry. So it's definitely a great experience for sure. A great opportunity, and a blessing, absolutely.
That's awesome. I'm glad that you were able to share that and how things shifted for you. I did want to touch back on your experience in Ohio. You said
Yes.
Witnessing that injustice, I'd like to word it, it changed your avenue of what you wanted to do. So we know discrimination happens. It's not even there's no need to even talk about the different discrimination that happens, or does it happen or does it not. We're well aware that there's different levels of discrimination that happens in every industry. Can you touch a little bit about what you witnessed or what you're constantly fighting against, whether it's for you as a representative or the athletes that you do represent, like the type of discrimination that you do?
Yeah. I mean, for the people in the audience who, are in tune with the sports industry, know about, Rich Paul, who's LeBron James's agent, one of the most successful NBA agents. And, the NCAA essentially instituted a rule, to stop guys like him from coming up. I haven't experienced that directly where people have made a rule, but have I experienced discrimination in this industry? Absolutely. I mean, one of the main catalysts for me even going to law school was saying that, here's some things that I'm never going to be able to change about me. I'm always going to be Black, right? I'm always, I'm going to be young, for the next considerable future. So, young and Black, a young Black male, that's always going to be there against me, quote unquote. I didn't want to get into a situation where somebody said, oh, Aaron, I'm recruiting a player, and they say, oh, Aaron, we love you. We love you for you to do our deal, but you're not a lawyer. You didn't go to law school. we don't feel comfortable with you doing our deal, even though there's other agents, who don't necessarily have law degrees who still are successful. I said I didn't want that to happen to me, so I just went ahead and took that chance and went to law school. And
So
I'm
you
not advocating
proactively,
that everybody has to do that, but
so you
that's just
proactively,
what you say.
so you proactively went ahead and just stopped that from happening. Okay.
Exactly. Just because I already knew it was going to happen. But even then, there's been instances where, I've been passed over for jobs several times in this industry. I've been passed over for, internships. I've, outperformed certain people who've worked at companies, and those people have gotten raises, and I've just gotten a chance to be an intern again. I mean, it runs the gamut. I mean, it's going to happen in every industry. Sports agent industry is no different. It happens to my clients, or it happens to, not my clients necessarily, but it happens to, a lot of guys, that are discriminated against. I mean, these are young black men with, hundreds of thousands and sometimes millions of dollars. I mean, and, I'm no shade to anybody, but not everybody's just not as refined. So it's like, they're going to be discriminated against too. The thing is like, for me, I've always been like a strategic person, but I've always been a solutions person. So I'll say, okay, let me go ahead and I'm going to foresee that I'm playing chess. I already know what you're going to try to do. So let me set up to block that move before you can even get to the move, because your playbook is very simple.
Mm-hmm.
We know the game, right? The game is the same regardless. Let me go ahead and strategically, preemptively, figure out how I'm going to, block that move. But then at the same time, be solutions focused and say, okay, how am I going to strive to even be, better to make this so, the person after me doesn't have to struggle like this. And so, that's, kind of what my career has been about too, just making sure like I can break some barriers, knock some walls down. So if I could just move it just an inch or two, man, maybe the next person can come in and, push it even further. So that's part of it too.
I love that you said that your strategy to basically maneuver around discrimination in the workplace is about being proactive. It's about constantly thinking, how could you block me so I can go ahead and, get ahead of you?
Be unblockable. I mean, yeah.
Like we're playing, I know the game, so I might as well move forward. How do you feel like with the current climate, with everything that's going on, with the Black Lives Matter movement, with racism brought to the forefront, sexism brought to the forefront, because when you're being discriminated against, it can be about anything, to be honest. How do you feel like that's shifting your industry, or what do you foresee in the future?
Well, I mean, I think athletes have definitely been, I won't say leading the charge, but have definitely been, stepping up and making their voices heard even more and more and more, particularly the NBA guys, but NFL guys as well. Of course, shout out to Colin Kaepernick, salute, for everything. He was very prescient on, just this entire movement. And so one way that that's going to shift my industry is going to get these guys more licensed to be vocal because of Colin's sacrifice. He was proven right. So now that, the next time an athlete speaks up, people might stop and be like, oh, wait, let me hear what he has to say. For me in my industry personally, I think it will just during this climate, it's going to open some eyes, and it's going to, for an agent that has his stuff together and he just happens to be black and young, like it's going to definitely open some doors and get, some conversation started that maybe normally wouldn't have gotten started. I can say that during this time period, not to say, success is measured by, how many calls you get returned or not, but at a certain level, my job it is. And, I can definitely say that I've gotten some phone calls and had some conversations with a lot of players. And, this topic never comes up, but, they hear me speak on the phone, they hear my background, they hear the sacrifices and the struggles that I've had to even get to this point in this industry. And they know exactly like, hey, like, my story's not out there or anything, but they just know what it means to deal with that. I think in my industry, it's going to open the lane up for some young black agents, but you're going to have to be, you're going to have to have your stuff together, because at the end of the day, these are people's lives that you have in your hands, and so they're trusting you with a lot. You're going to have to show that you're capable to be able to handle that responsibility.
Yeah, for sure. I love that you constantly talk about how you advocate for them. You know how to maneuver through it, but also you're trying to break barriers. How do you feel like it's going to change for the maybe possibly black athletes that don't want to sign with a black agent because they are aware of the discrimination that happens to us?
I don't think I think in a general sense they are. They may not know specifically, the discrimination, and I think that's on us to share. But at the same time, I don't. Sometimes I don't want my guy to sign me because I'm a charity case either. So it's those things that are shared over a relationship. Like my current client who plays with the New York Jets currently. We've known each other for 4 years now, and so he's known my struggles. He was my very first client, so he's known all the struggles that I've gone through just to even get him to the point of where he's at. So, he's more in tune and aware, and he definitely shares that message. But, I think that, and I apologize, I kind of lost the main part of the question, but I definitely do think that it's going to change, how people. I think it's just going to make people be a little more open. Those conversations, they're going to be able to be had. People are more in the spirit, and particularly like not us, are more in the spirit to hear those conversations and have those conversations. But going back to athletes signing, with black agents or not, I think in my industry is my industry is very different
Yeah.
because success kind of determines why you sign with a certain agent. So I don't after a certain point, they want a guy who's gonna get the job done. If he's black, though, I mean, then he can really, be successful. I mean, that's David Mulligetta, that's Tory Dandy, who's from Woodruff, South Carolina. Those are two of the top black agents in sports, and it's been football, if not the two top agents in football, period. You have Nicole Lynn, a black woman. She just represented a third round, the number 3 overall pick last year. And, she's, I think, under 30. So there's people out there that are showing that if you have your stuff together and you're black, then you can definitely succeed in this industry. Like now is the time. That's definitely, I would say that, and that applies to any industry. Now is the time with so much uncertainty, so much change going on. Nobody knows what the solutions are, and that solution might be you. So don't be afraid to step out there. During a time of uncertainty. When others are when others are being afraid, that's when you should take take a little risk, not only go out to the parties or be all and stuff like that, but in a sense of with your career and with your passions. If you're passionate about pursuing something and you think that you can be successful in doing it, now it's never been a better time than to do it now.
I agree. I definitely agree. I do want you to give a few tips, not just for your industry, just for someone, young adult, recent grad, how to maneuver like the discrimination we're going to face. I know you touched on you think ahead, like and proactively handle that, but just give them a few tips how to maneuver it and still remain themselves in the workforce.
I mean, assess, I think one of the benefits, and I ain't gonna lie, I'm black and I'm from the South, so been around white people my whole life, been around a lot of other people, been around a lot of black people my whole life. So after a certain point, I don't want to say you profile or categorize people, but after a certain point, you can kind of just pick up on certain tendencies and vibes, and you can understand and assess what's the saying? Read the room. You can read the room. So read the room, understand what the room is, and then understand. Okay, I'm gonna have the ball regardless, but understand. For me, it was always okay. What can I get out of this place that it's gonna help me go to where I'm trying to get to, and then I just max out in that category right there. And one thing that kind of does help, avoid discrimination is performance. But just know that performance ain't gonna be the equalizer. Also know that at the end of the day, you can't please everybody. So don't necessarily try to. That one person who just for whatever reason you just can't please, and even if that person is a superior, you know what, you don't let that stop you from doing your job. You do your job professionally, you keep it professional, but you find a way to work around that without undercutting that person. And I can't speak, I can't give specifics for every situation, but you figure out you still have to figure out how to thrive. Like that's just kind of my thing. Again, I said I'm solutions oriented. Figure out how to thrive, because no matter what, like I'm not gonna let nobody stop me. My grandma always said, "Don't no monkey stop no show." That's just the thing I've taken throughout my whole life. No monkey is stopping my show. I'm going to where I'm trying to go, regardless of whoever. We're gonna figure it out one way or the other, and just keep a positive mindset, keep going. Keep a positive mindset, keep going, and just again think strategically. That's the biggest part of it.
Thank you so much, because I feel like that's definitely something we need to tap into, making sure that we're strategic with everything that we do, because discrimination is going to happen. We're going to face it one way or another, whether it's directly in our face or, systematically. So just constantly keeping your eye on that end goal. So thank you so much for joining us.
No problem at all. Appreciate you.